My boyfriend, 37 male, blames me, 26 female, for being harassed at work. Do I leave him? Okay, so my boyfriend of 9 months and I have just had a big fight, and now I'm home alone and seeking advice from strangers, I guess. I'm going through a bit of an ordeal at work where a male colleague became slightly obsessive with me, and it started with me just thinking that he was being nice, but it seems to have accelerated very quickly. We had hardly any contact until he was moved into my team, and we quickly became friends as he liked a lot of the same things as me. Favorite TV shows, musicians, etc. After a few months, I did notice him make some odd comments about my boyfriend, who he's never met but seen on my Insta. Things like, "I wouldn't picture you with someone like him," or, "We'll see how long that lasts," and "He's the kind of guy that'll hurt you in the end." I thought he was being very assumptive, but I didn't think anything of it, and maybe that's my fault. Then the flirting started, or what I think he thought was flirting, where he would compliment me in really specific and odd ways, like the way that I walked or how nice I smelled. Some of the comments became quite sexual, so I started backing away from him, but as we're in the same team, they just continued and got more bizarre. He'd compare me to characters in the shows we both watched, but would reference specific sex scenes and how I would do it so much better. Very gross, very inappropriate, I know, but I've never been one to cause a scene or get anyone into trouble, so instead thought that I'd just tell him straight that he was making me uncomfortable and he needed to stop. This was yesterday, and he did not take it well, shouting at me, in the office, that I had no idea what the fuck I was talking about, and soon I would get it. I'm not sure what he meant by that. He was told to go for a walk and cool off by our team leader. When he returned about 20 minutes later, he immediately apologized and said he had some things going on outside of work and assured me that it would never happen again. He even thanked me for raising how I felt and said that he would never do anything to make me uncomfortable again. This morning, I woke up to the longest string of messages that I've ever received. It was sent at 1 a.m. and started by him saying that he was in love with me and that we were meant to be together. The messages then range from creepy compliments to saying he was going to find out where I live. One part literally reads, "I was put on this earth for you and you only. There is no other option." I won't bore everyone with putting in the whole text, as this post is already too long, but there are some things that I found very threatening. I called my manager this morning and said that I wouldn't be coming into work and that I needed to formally complain about him. She was understanding, and we had a long Teams call and started the process with HR, etc. So, now my boyfriend's response. This morning, when I showed him the message, he was supportive and insisted that I don't go to work and stay at his. He wanted to call off work too and call the police, but I said that I just wanted to focus on informing work today, etc., and think about how to proceed. However, when he came back from work today, his attitude seemed to have completely changed. He said he thought that it was fucked up that I didn't go to the police and that he thinks that I have feelings for this colleague. When I assured him that that's not the case, he told me that guys don't write messages like that if there's nothing behind it, and that I must have been at least leading this guy on for him to end up acting so irrationally. The more I tried to defend myself, the more irate he got, and he started saying that he hated how I acted so innocent all the time when he knows deep down that I'm a whore, and that he should have known that I was a low-value woman. He's never ever called me things like that before, and it was so upsetting. Beyond that, he ended up asking me to leave, so now I've had to come back to my flat when I'm feeling pretty vulnerable and a little scared. For context, I got with my boyfriend quite quickly after I moved to the country that I'm now living in, so my only friends are his friends. All my family and friends are back in my home country, so there's nowhere else to go. I really think that what has happened is not my fault, and I'm incredibly disappointed with his reaction, especially when for the past few weeks, I've told him how uncomfortable this guy has been making me, etc. So he's been kept informed. However, I think it's important to note for context that he was previously cheated on by his ex-fiancée, so I know that any hint of cheating is a big trigger for him, which may explain his reaction. So do I break up with him? In the comments, Cranberry Good says, "You leave. When someone shows you who they really are, always believe them. I saw the age gap, I read the title, I needed no more. Yes, dump him. Please go to the police about your coworker. I think you're underreacting to the danger that he poses to your safety. His obsessive behavior is really scary, and it sounds like it will only escalate. As for your boyfriend, the low-value woman comment seems like he has been red-pilled. At the heart of his outbreak is probably fear and concern, but it's really troubling that he's taking it out on you. This might be a good time to leave and visit home, but not without first filing a police report. You are definitely in danger, and stalkers don't take no lightly." OP replies, "Thanks for your advice. I think you're right with the whole red-pilled thing, and think that I know exactly who he must have spoken to yesterday to come back with that stuff. Just very confusing when he's never indicated thinking that way himself before. I'm going to see if he reaches out to talk, but nothing so far. As for the coworker, I've stayed home again today, but have an in-person meeting later with my manager and HR as they've opened an investigation. I've blocked my colleague on everything, which I think some comments said was a bad idea, but I didn't realize. So I haven't heard anything from him, but that almost is making me more nervous and paranoid. A work friend is going to come over later to talk about involving the police, etc. Thanks again for taking the time to comment. It's really appreciated." Yeah, I'm with everyone else here. Get as much police help as you can, document as much as you can for that creepy obsessed stalker, and age gap. Always interesting when there's an age gap because it's never good on here. It's the usual suspects. It is what it is. We did it, Reddit. We pointed out another injustice in the world. But yeah, that whole red-pilled thing is insane. Like, who was he talking to? I really want to know who he was talking to. Who is OP talking about? Because people don't just flip like that out of nowhere. He must have been harboring some resentment over these last 9 months, and it's come to a crescendo now. I would love to know who he was talking to. And now, onto the update. Quite delayed, it's been a journey, but I had some lovely concerned messages, so wanted to post a quick update. Thank you for everyone's comments and messages. You were all bang on, and I'm so glad to say that I'm out of this situation. Boyfriend update. He came back apologizing, as many of you predicted he would. He confirmed my assumption that he had spoken to a specific friend that day who had gotten him riled up on the idea that it's always the girls who seem innocent that aren't, and that I had clearly been cheating with this coworker. At first, he did pretty well at apologizing and taking accountability on the phone, but when we met up, I could see that he was still angry at me for some reason. Turns out he felt abandoned by me because I wasn't the first to reach out after the fight. That's when I knew that it was over, and I couldn't forgive him. How he was making this situation about himself still blows my mind. I left him, received some more red pill abuse, and have heard nothing since. Good riddance. Stalker update. Things got a little scary. I returned to work while he was suspended under investigation. 1 week later, I had gone out for dinner, and when I returned home, he was standing outside my apartment building. It was dark, and he was wearing a hoodie, so I didn't realize that it was him until I got close enough to see his face. I completely froze, and for a second, I stupidly thought he was going to apologize and beg not to get him fired or something. But instead, he said he'd missed me. I have no idea how this man found out where I live, but I think he is very unwell. I backed away into the street, but he grabbed me into a hug or something. Not totally sure his intentions. Luckily, some passers-by heard me shouting for him to get off and intervened. Forcibly had to get him to let go. He then ran away. I finally went to the police and started the process of getting a restraining order. Even after this, I received sexually explicit emails from weird email addresses and requests from newly made Insta accounts. I have since deleted and remade all accounts. After this experience, I've moved back to my home country. I wish I'd been brave enough to stay, but I was honestly living in fear, not to be dramatic, and just didn't have the support of friends and family that I needed. Anyway, just wanted to thank all of you strangers again that made me feel justified in my feelings. I really have learned a valuable lesson to raise the alarm when you feel threatened, and truly hope that none of you have to go through this experience. Also, if someone loves you, they should never abandon you in times of crisis. Stay safe out there. In the comments, Gameboy Path says, "There's no need to feel guilty about making decisions that are aligned with your personal safety. Different people have different standards of security and risk tolerance, and strangers on the internet can't tell you what's the appropriate levels of preparedness that should have been used. Best wishes, OP." Hey, you did what you need to do to feel safe. I hope you've taken advantage of your support system and not let any bad thoughts fester. Stay well. And Unnecessary C says, "I'm so sorry that you encountered such toxic people, felt threatened, abandoned, and terrified. It's awful what they put you through. You are incredibly brave for setting boundaries and sticking to them in such situations. The timeline doesn't matter. What matters is that you stood up for yourself and took action. That can be particularly difficult at work and in a romantic relationship where they seem to have been a huge part of every aspect of your life in a new country. Please know that you are a strong woman for identifying what you need and what is important to you, and then following through with the big life changes to make it happen. I hope you feel loved, safe, and supported." And OP replies, "Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. It's been hard to recognize myself as strong when I feel like I ran away. But I really believe that it was the best choice for me. And to be honest, I'm just so happy to be home. I hope all the best for you too." And you know what, OP? Sometimes the strongest thing you can do for yourself is to run away and go back to close proximity of your support network. Who knows if that guy would have escalated into breaking into your apartment and doing God knows what to you while he knows where you live. At least now you have seemingly a gigantic amount of distance between yourself and him. Your boyfriend is a complete asshole for what he did to you, absolutely, but really the more important thing is getting away from this stalker. I think you have potentially saved your own life by just packing up and leaving, and maybe you can come back in the future if you want to resume what you had started. But there's no telling what would have happened if you stayed, and all we know is that you were safe and you are better off right now than you could have been. And that's all that matters. I think you made the right choice. Thank you for the story, and thank you for taking the advice that you were given. Our next post is by user We Are Just Roomies, and it's titled, "I started washing and putting away my roommate's favorite mug whenever she uses it. When she caught me, I lied about why. I, 30 male, share an apartment with my friend, 30 female. I'll call her Gwen. Gwen has a lot of mugs, more than will fit in the cup cupboard all at once, so she rotates them seasonally. She loves swapping them out. I asked why, and she says it's like getting new mugs every couple of months. But there are 2 mugs in her collection that never leave the kitchen. They are rarely in the cupboard because the second they are washed, she uses them again. We have a dishwasher, but it's broken. Part of our chore division is that we each take care of our own dishes. The thing is, I know she doesn't like doing her own dishes. It's a sensory thing. But she insisted that we do our own dishes, and I thought that was pretty fair. I also know that Gwen's most favorite is her Spider-Man mug. She's never told me that. I can just tell because the Spider-Man mug gets picked before any of the others when it's clean. I know this because I see it in the sink every day for her to wash before bed with her other dishes. There were times that her dishes sat for a couple of days before she could force herself to work through the sensory issues and get them done. It never got to the point of smelling bad, and she apologized every time for any dishes that she left overnight. I truly did not mind when that happened. I understand the sensory issues, and I'm proud of her for keeping on top of it as much as she was. Now comes the part I need to get off my chest. The background info was important, I promise. Every time Gwen realizes she can use her Spider-Man mug, she dances an adorable happy dance while making her tea in the morning. She doesn't seem to realize she's dancing, or at least doesn't realize that I noticed her dancing. Either way, it's my favorite part of the day when I'm getting ready for work, and she dances a happy dance while getting her breakfast because she gets to use her Spider-Man mug every single morning. It seriously cheers her up, and she's been a lot more positive throughout the day since I started doing this. Gwen found me washing her dishes last week. I had been doing them for a while, but this was the first time that she walked in and caught me bubble-handed washing her Spider-Man mug. Not gonna lie, I panicked. She thanked me for helping her, and then asked why I started to do her dishes too. She even asked if I was annoyed by her dishes when she left them. This was absolutely not the case, but I couldn't tell her that I watch her happy dances. That's creepy, right? But it's so cute and makes me so happy to see her so happy. If she knew that I watched her dance, she would feel self-conscious and stop doing them. She's pretty shy about stuff like that. She won't sing in front of anyone, but singing is one of her favorite things to do, and I've caught her singing along to her music before she realizes I'm home more than she realizes. I also pretend not to notice when that happens. She has a really pretty voice. So yeah, I couldn't tell her why I'm really doing her dishes, or I would lose my favorite part of my day. I told her that I like to get mine done every night. It's something my mum always told me to do. I was already there, so it wasn't a big deal to do hers too. It saves water, and she does a few of the household chores that I hate because she likes them. So I don't mind doing this one tiny extra chore that she doesn't like. I feel like I was pretty obviously not telling the truth, but I think she believed me. She didn't tell me to stop, and she hasn't brought it up since she caught me. So I still get to see her happy dances when she goes in the kitchen and sees her spider mug ready for her to start the day. Edit 1. Alright, I'm headed to bed. Thank you for all of your comments. To clarify, we are just friends. We are roommates now, but we were friends first. Anyway, it's been fun, but it's 5 a.m. and I have an appointment at 10 a.m. This should be fun. Good night. Edit 2. It is now 9 a.m. I just woke up to so many notifications. Jesus H. Christ. What happened while I was napping? Thank you everyone for your responses. I did not expect my habit, that I thought would be seen as weird or creepy, to get so much attention. I'm so glad so many of you got a smile from my post. As you can tell, I like to give people a reason to smile. I hope you all have an awesome day. Edit 3. Guys, she found the post. Scatter. No, for real. She commented on this post. She made an account specifically to comment. How? How did this happen, and how did it happen so goddamn fast? I didn't think she was on Reddit. She always is on YouTube watching video games or listening to stories. She used a picture of the mug as the profile pic. I'm panicking. I'll update when I'm brave enough to go out to the kitchen. I can hear her cooking. In the comments, a Golbal says, "You're both good roommates. I'm so proud of you both. It's not easy getting along with someone in your space." And OP replies, "I've never been as happy at home as I am with Gwen. She is so easy to live with, and any problems we have had, we have been able to talk over and resolve. It's almost too good to be true, but we do bicker a lot. I make fun of her for wearing Crocs nearly 24/7, and she laughs every time she hears me swearing at my bed after I stub my toe on it. I do that at least twice a week. I'm an idiot." In This Butt says, "That's actually so adorable and wholesome." OP says, "Thanks. I was worried that I would come across as a creeper. I almost posted in confessions." And Substantial Remove says, "No, you handled this perfectly. Non-invasive, helpful, and supportive. If you two get into the right headspace, you can bring up that you love seeing how happy it makes her." OP replies, "Maybe one day. I don't want to make her uncomfortable in her own home. I know she's super self-conscious, but I can't help it when that little dancey dance that she does is so damn cute." Substantial Remove replies, "The fact that you were conscientious enough to realize that is one of the reasons you two work so well as roommates." And OP replies, "I'd like to think so. It feels like we've lived together longer than a few months because it's been so stress-free. The worst argument we have is when I want to watch Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy for the nth time, and she wants to watch anything else but that." And now, onto the update, 9 hours later. And wait for it, update. I can't actually post an update in the true off my chest so soon after my first post, So here's a small update. We talked a little bit over breakfast. I'm officially a fan of tea now. She thinks I'm an idiot, and I agree, but she's not mad about the post or about me creeping on her mug-inspired happy dances. All said and done, I think making that post was the best 5 a.m. decision that I've ever made. Gwen says hi, everyone. In the comments, KiriKitty94 says, "Bro, I did similar shit for my now boyfriend. I didn't know that it was a crush until I was in too deep. We've been together for almost 3 years. Even if you aren't interested romantically, you two are adorable and have a beautiful friendship." OP says, "I was watching her work in the living room today, and it kinda just made me realize why I feel different, but also completely the same. I still have the same feelings of friendship, but it's like going from a familiar room to another room that's bigger. But it has the same paintings as the first room. There's just more wall space for more paintings now. I hope that makes sense. I said it to Gwen and she asked if I was high." And now on to a small update, 1 day later. It's a picture of a text the roommate was sending to OP that she made OP a cup of tea for after a Zoom call, and OP asks which cup, and she replies, "the pumpkin one." OP confirms in a comment that is her second favorite mug and means good things. And now on to update 2 days later. Good morning, y'all. A couple days ago, I made a post at 3 in the morning to confess to doing my roommate's dishes because I secretly love to watch her do a happy dance when she sees her favorite mug is clean for her to use again. That post changed our lives, and I'm only being a little bit dramatic by saying that. I gotta say thanks to everyone who upvoted and commented on my original post. I'm still shook at just how many people read about me and my mug-happy best friend. The amount of people saying that my post made them smile or reminded me of their own friendships or significant others has kept me smiling for days. I'm kind of into making people happy, if that wasn't already obvious, so the fact that so many people even had a moment of positivity because of me has been awesome. When I made that original post, it was just because I wanted to tell someone about the mug dancing, but I knew that Gwen wouldn't like it if I told anyone that we knew, so I came to Reddit to shout to the void, and oh boy, did the void shout back. There were so many comments asking if I really thought that we were just friends. And I'll be honest, when I made that post, we absolutely were just friends. We had never talked about being more than friends, and I was happy being friends because we had an amazing friendship. I hadn't really thought about there being a possibility for more, because dating was always something that I planned to do when I had my life together or when I had more money. I never let myself consider what I was missing out on by waiting for the right time. Her finding my post opened up the chance for Gwen and I to talk about things that we hadn't before, and over breakfast that morning, we found where we stood with each other and what we thought things could look like moving forward, depending on what we both agreed was the best course. We didn't make any solid plans or decisions, and didn't want to rush into something that would ruin the good that we already had going for us, but I'll admit, I was hoping for a specific outcome. There was one comment on that first post that had really caught my attention. To paraphrase, they told me to think about how I would feel if someone else got to see Gwen do her happy mug dance instead of me, and it hit me so hard. I didn't mind the idea of someone else seeing her so happy. I just don't know if anyone that she dates would notice what I did and decide to do what I did. What if they didn't care or didn't think that it was important, or any of the other things that I do to make her laugh or smile? I really didn't like the thought of not being there to make sure that she has that extra reason to smile in the morning. Gwen wants me to admit that I'm a sappy moron because I teared up writing this. I'm a sensitive man in touch with my emotions, and you know you love it, so shut it, you. To all the people saying that it's possible for platonic relationships to be like ours, you are absolutely correct. Our friend group is very open with physical and verbal affection, and we help each other all the time with big and small things. We all say I love you to each other. It's just normal communication for us as a group, not just between Gwen and I. Honestly, if I hadn't made my original post, I'm not sure when or if we would have gotten to the point that we are now. Maybe we would have continued as we were, and that would have been just as happy of an outcome, just a different one. Like a choose-your-own-adventure with multiple options for a good resolution. Which brings me to the actual update. Gwen and I agreed that we want to try dating. We aren't putting a new label on our relationship yet, but our first date is next week. I'm making it all a surprise. Gwen helped me write this post and will be reading the comments, so I can't give any details, but it's going to be the best date that Gwen has ever been on, or I'll eat my candy corn patterned socks. I think she might just be the one for me, and I'm going to take every chance I can to make sure that she thinks the same about me. Y'all are the best, and we love you. Do something kind for your loved ones for us, and everyone can and should find something to happy dance about. It makes life more fun. Love, Gwen and Peter. Thank you for that one, OP. That was lovely. I'm glad it all worked out in the end. I never thought for a second that it wouldn't work out, because every story here ends as wonderfully as that one, and that's where I'm going to leave this episode before any trauma comes my way. But yeah, sometimes you need to think, would I want someone else seeing her happy dance? And that's how you know, damn, I got some solid feelings for this one. Glad that you both saw some reason. Glad that you're both together after this one. That is beautiful, OP. Thank you for the story. And good luck going forward. I wish you two nothing but the best. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.